What's up and welcome back. I'm still not drunk or Scottish, but I am John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we're here to talk about Ironheart constructively from a place of love instead of from a place of I saw something on the internet and I didn't like it. Anyway, click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we're going to break down Ironheart Season 1, Episode 3. Was it good? What was the audio description good? Is anything about this show redeemable, or is the internet just having its heyday and winning? It's a bit of both. Like we're hitting we're starting to find our stride, and we're starting to find our place in this world. And Riri is starting to get a little bit more established. I think some early reviews that I kind of always try to read what other critics are saying, or random people on YouTube or the internet. I think some of them are sort of like unfair with certain sort of over analyzing, which is what happens when you do all three episodes at the same time and not episode by episode. So in episode 3, we have a lot that happens here. Riri has to go hang out with her AI resurrected buddy, Natalie, because Natalie is like, she's trying to work out, Riri's trying to work out some code that would remove Natalie, but obviously Natalie doesn't want to participate in it. And Natalie's like, well, we should hang out and talk, which they do. And it feels like old times. There's also this scene, I totally forgot about Xavier, but to be fair, like when Xavier was introduced, I also wasn't aware that Xavier was going to be like around. I didn't pick up on that because he's not really in the second episode. So he's back for this episode, and he gets to talk about these headphones that were Natalie's and why he keeps wearing these old ass headphones, because Riri used the money to get him these new headphones, which kind of sucks because this is one of the things I didn't like about her. Is it's like she's already doing stuff that she knows is like, like morally questionable at this point, even though she's not sure how morally questionable it is. She's pretty sure it's morally questionable, but what she's doing it for is like altruistic. Like, well, I need this to be able to build the tech because I don't have any funding, and I can't build life-saving technology without it. Not by my brother Beats. That's no. That's not the same thing. So, I did kind of think that was, I mean, I know you're trying to be nice, and but there isn't also like this arc where like her mom is like deep in debt and they're suffering as a family, and we don't like have that kind of thing, that struggle where there's like an eviction notice on the door, so Riri feels like she has to come up with money before her mom loses the place. There was that, like, she got rid of the shop thing, but that's like already in the past. This whole headphone thing seems like, people who are like, yeah, if I got $1 million, I'd donate it to charity, but I'd also buy myself a Ducati first, like, and then I donate the rest to charity. It's like, you want to be mostly the good guy, but there's still part of you that is very consumer driven, that is still very much like materialistic. So it didn't quite match Riri's arc, or her, what she's trying to achieve, but I guess it gave Xavier something to do, because otherwise he's just like, he has no reason to question her about like where she's getting this money. They didn't find a scene to be able to put him in the second episode, so without this scene, I don't know how they would have written him back in. Just a little interaction where they bump into each other. It gives them a reason to interact, but yeah, so she spends a lot of time with Natalie. And then Joe shows up at the house, which was such an overreach, an overstep. Joe McGillicuddy, with the fakest name ever, played by Alden Aaron Boring. I typed his name out into a review on my website, and I put Alden Ehrenreich who's so boring and I care so little, I'm not even gonna make sure I spelled his name correctly. Like, I just don't care. And he's here again. He shows up at the house, which feels like a huge stretch for his character. And he's like trying to blackmail Riri now to come build things with him right now. But why right now? Like, he feels like the kind of, he's initially introduced as being this sort of very passive character that lets people sort of easily push him around, and suddenly he's assertive. Why? Because I drew up these after yesterday. You inspired me. I was drawing these blueprints, and if you don't help me, I'm going to tell your mom. Okay, okay, fake ass. Let's go look at your dumbass blueprint. So Riri has to go with him to the house to see. Plus, she realizes with what she's trying to do and the gig coming up that she's got with the Ocean's 11 crew, that yeah, she's gonna have to alter. She has to make some changes in order to get what she wants. I'll talk about it. So she goes over to Joe's place, and this is where we learn his name is not Joe McGillicuddy. Shocking, I know. I should have told you to clutch your pearls real quickly. Go ahead, we'll do it again. Pretend I didn't tell you. Get ready. Are you seated down? Are you sitting? Don't YouTube and walk. It's very dangerous. You never know what somebody's going to say, what the spoiler's going to be. Joe McGillicuddy, believe it or not, is not his real name. I know this is shocking. I know. There are support groups online. There are 1-800 numbers that you can call. This is a very disturbing thing that the guy with the last name of McGillicuddy didn't turn out to have an actual last name of McGillicuddy. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. I felt like I was keeping something from you, this deep, dark secret that it was really between us in terms of a relationship that I don't think we're ever going to be able to get past it. But, anyway, he's Ezekiel Stain. So he's Obadiah's son. Obadiah being Jeff Bridges from the first Iron Man movie. So whatever. I didn't even care. I was just like, Alden Ehrenreich could be Wolverine and I would still be bored. I feel like what a terrible choice for him, for Marvel, for everybody involved. At least I'm honest. Like, I'm very honest about my biases, and I try not to hate any one thing throughout all, but if there's an actor I don't like, I'm honest. Do they surprise me occasionally? Sure. Like I mentioned, I think Alden's good in something. I want to say it was Hail Caesar. I feel like there was like one thing where I was like, he was fine. He was fine. I like that. That was good. I think it's Hail Caesar. Yeah, so he's like, yeah, I don't want to be like my dad. My dad was, ironmonger and tried to kill Tony Stark, and I'm nothing like him. Okay, that remains to be seen. We have more episodes. He also could be. I mean, like, he could be on a redemption arc. That really could be him. But they've played Alden Ehrenreich right down the middle so that he is void of personality, so they've played him void of personality so that he could go either way. So Riri takes the little things that she needs and promises to come back or whatever. She had knocked over the whole inciting incident was that he keeps his dad's ashes, and she knocked it over, and then he just like air vacs them back up. I don't think this dude actually does like his dad. He might actually be a good guy. We'll see where we go with this. Can't even imagine like air vacuuming up like family human remains. Anyway, I guess you get it off the floor somehow. I don't know. Dustpan. All of it feels like somehow sacrilege. So Riri takes this little piece of mesh that she needs. And she goes back. One of the things I didn't like was, and I kind of stood up for it because other people were talking about like, oh, she built that suit overnight. And it's like, well, it's the suit she's already built. So here, though, she's trying to like think of something new that she has to do, and she has like a matter of hours to do it. So it kind of felt like there's like a little bit more of a stretch that her crunch time is still very crunch. And also, this is something new for her instead of like reassembling the things she's already done. But her whole goal is to go on this mission and to sneak in. She needs to know what the cloak does, so she wants to cut off a piece of this. Also, she's learned that Rampage was murdered. And obviously, you know, well, she had just met Rampage, so they exchanged phone numbers. So the last thing that was on Rampage's phone was Riri's phone number. So the cops are there, and Riri explains it. She does seem very confused, so I think the cops were like, yeah, this girl knows shit. She seems like very just like, what? He, what? He, he had my number? Like, oh yeah, no, we met at a interview. What? He said he knew me? Like, it's just such a weird interaction, but good for you for being so confused that the cops are just like, yeah, this is not, she had nothing to do with this. So they're gonna go after this guy that clearly Parker has vendetta against. The Hood has a vendetta against. And that guy kind of laughs at Parker. There's so many really interesting choices that I was wondering why they were doing them. So I wanted to know more about this company. I wanted to know more about like why nobody has an actual gun. Like the audio description was really specific about like how they all have non-metal guns. And I'm like, but why? Is Magneto nearby? Are you worried about Magneto? So yeah, I don't know. It was sort of interesting to see because it's a choice. Like you're making a choice, but why are you making the choice? So this company has like greenhouses and stuff, and Parker's trying to blackmail, and meanwhile Riri has separated herself from the suit. So which was not a great idea because she's seen Natalie glitch now a couple times and experienced that. Like, she hasn't fixed the glitch where Natalie just kind of freezes for a minute. So she leaves Natalie in the suit because Natalie can operate the suit, which is not the weirdest thing ever because the suits sort of operate themselves and fly themselves to Tony Stark. But I'm sure there's somebody who's like talking about that online as if that's like some egregious thing that has happened to the Marvel series. Like, oh, a suit is being operated without a person. Yeah. Again, there's things we've done before, not new, that AI is flying the suit. Anyway, so she's trying to laser off a piece of this hood thing. She goes to where it is and opens up the grate, and she's lasering off a little piece of the corner so she can assess it. And what she's doing triggers the heat, triggers some sort of weird sensor. Meanwhile, like Clown has fully set fire to one of the greenhouses, and I didn't understand. So the hacker part of the thing had hacked into the system and gotten everybody access to where they needed to go. So everything was going smoothly. And they're obviously, like, whatever sensors there are bullshit because Clown has a greenhouse on fire. So what sensors? Like, at that point, what sensors? Because the thing that Riri's doing is a heat-involved thing. And she's lasering off this little piece but she can't let it be too hot because it'll trigger some. But what is it triggering that the fire in the greenhouse isn't triggering? I really want to help you, Ironheart. I do. I like her. I like Riri. I think Dominique's doing a good job. The series around her feels sort of rushed and kind of thrown together at times. So yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Why you can do one thing in one place and not the other in another place. So she triggers this like massive system shutdown where everybody gets locked in and they start pumping carbon dioxide in. Um, Meanwhile, Riri, her normal escape route gets blocked, so she ends up having to fight John, who is, I mean, he and Parker have this long history, this backstory, and she ends up, yeah, defeating him basically by at the last moment. Ironheart comes and rescues only Riri, puts Riri in the suit, and then they leave. But they leave John in this room with the carbon dioxide, so he just chokes to death, like he runs out of air and dies. And Parker's like, "Where's John? Where's he at?" And Riri's like, "I'm sorry, he didn't make it out." Um, and he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know who triggered what, but somehow he feels like this is Riri's fault. John catches Clown though talking about like playing around with the coat, the hood, and she mentioned something about how it's feeling hot. So there's something about this hood, but even the other members of his crew have sort of played around with the idea. So I like the idea, and obviously he's very distrustful because he killed Rampage when he didn't really need to. So yeah, it is sort of weird that he does narrow in on Riri before somebody picks up the mesh thing. See the mesh that she got from Joe slash Ezekiel slash Alden Ehrenreich. She left that behind along with the laser tool, and somebody finds that. And, he mentioned something about how, like, these are all, like, black market things that I've modified to myself or whatever. Cool. Whatever. He also, like, implanted something in his arm that she had to, like, stitch up, which I'm sure we'll learn what that is later on. Yeah, so Parker is now thinking maybe Riri had something to do with John's death. I don't know. We'll find out. But I'm surprised Manny Montana was short-lived on the series. I would have thought he was going to be a little bit longer in this. There are still people in the Ocean's 11 crew that I don't remember. The twins, the Bash brothers, have like nothing to do ever, and they're totally expendable. Clown has had a couple scenes, and I want to remember the drag queen. I do. I want to remember what her character's name is, but I can't. They mentioned that she was from Madripoor at one point, which I thought was really interesting because every time Madripoor is ever mentioned within Marvel, I always think about X-Men, and Logan, Wolverine, spending some time in Madripoor. But I think there are other mutants that are tied to Madripoor as well. So I was wondering if we were going to go that route and maybe she's a mutant. They keep talking about the long nails. I mean, there are things that character could evolve into because I know that they're trying to find ways to bring mutants into this world. But we haven't done that yet. Anyway, yeah, it wasn't perfect. It was a little bumpy and it feels rushed at times. Like Joe has to come over to this house right now and have this conversation right now in the third episode, but he doesn't feel like he's needed for the third episode. It also feels like it's unnecessary because she's going to have to go to him anyway, in which case he never needed to come to the place because she needed the tech anyway, so she was going to go to him anyway to get the tech. So it's like unnecessary sequence that just adds assertiveness to his character, but the last thing we saw him do was cut off the heads of the flowers. So we already gave him another angle. We just added this trip to Riri's for no discernible reason whatsoever. It didn't need to exist in the plot. So Is it perfect? No, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's also not. Some people are talking about this like it's destroyed their lives. It's like Disney is collapsing upon itself and this is ending the world. I think that's a bit of an overstretch, bit of an overreach. I don't think it's the worst thing Marvel has ever made. I'm not even sure it's the worst Marvel series. It is struggling, but it feels like it's something that is struggling because originally they were going to do more episodes and then they were like, oh shit, well, we have to do the same plot, but now we have to do it in six. Is it 6 episodes? Is that how many episodes it is? So it feels like they just shortened and now they have to rush through things and we're getting Riri can't quite develop, at the same pace that she needs to develop. And it gets a little bumpy and clunky along the way. I still stand by the fact that I think building the Gary AI would have been a much more interesting path for the series than a lot of what they're doing right now. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I like Anthony Ramos. I just think I think he's wasted in this role of this like soon to be forgotten villain that nobody's going to care about because we have the son of Obadiah Stane who's tied directly to the Iron Man franchise. So he could either be Riri's new best friend or he could be her new worst enemy. So either way with that. But I don't know. We'll see. So, mission went haywire. What's Parker going to do next? We'll find out next week when episode 4 drops. Are we getting 4, 5, and 6? Are we just going to do this in 2 weeks? Is it like Andor, where we just like shove all the episodes at you all at once? I don't know. Well, I'll recap whatever comes out next week one by one. And Ironheart season 1, episode 3. I gave the last episode a B. I gave the pilot a minus. Yeah, this is a B. Uh, I mean, I don't know that it was necessarily worse in the second episode. You still have it has some really fun moments. I actually like Natalie. I think Natalie is one of the few bright spots of the series that actually sort of gives Ironheart an identity that's different from everything else because it's like her AI is personalized to her experience. So Jarvis felt very much like the Jarvis that Tony would have. It feels like if we went into some weird backstory, we would learn that, that whole thing that, uh, obviously would end up being, materialized into a physical person. But like if there was backstory behind that, it feels like that would be somebody who Tony, like there could be a reason for that. It feels like somebody could be in Tony's circle or Tony's friend or whatever. It feels in tune to Tony Stark. But yeah, so it feels perfect that this is what this is also. So I like that. I think again, one of the things that we should focus on is her family, is this core story, because that's what all of the heroes have. Every single hero that's been successful has friends and family and a tragic backstory. And the more you explore that, the better. It's less about the side characters. Like, it's less about the people you meet along the way for most of them. Sometimes it's, because you need like a love interest. I cannot see Riri and Alden Ehrenreich together. So if that's where we're trying to be headed, oh my Jesus. They have no chemistry. Please don't do that. Just I would be done with that would do it for me. And like elevating Alden Ehrenreich to Riri's boyfriend would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer stake the series. Done. But I mean, you get that with other characters. They pick up love interests along the way. So yeah, but you have to have a core group, and that's what Ironheart is supposed to be exploring. But she spends so much time running away from that group to go do other things. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like it's shortened. Feels like we're not getting everything that we need to be getting, which is why like Xavier has this like shitty scene where he gets handed some headphones and then he has to talk about his feelings. So, yeah, I'm giving it a B. I think it's probably about the same as the second episode. Everything skews up for me that's Marvel because I love Marvel. So there's a part of me that just inherently does like things more because they're in my wheelhouse. I think that's true for a lot of people. I've definitely seen some people who are like, I'm a fan service me. You know what I'm saying? Like in the argument, like should fan service exist? It's like when done right, absolutely, because that's what I'm looking for. If I go to a sequel, I want to see things that are that I liked about the first film. That's why I'm there to see the second thing. If I'm there to see an adaptation of something, that I want to obviously see glimmers of that. There's reasons why we go to see things. There's a reason why people keep watching Marvel things, and there's reasons why people don't because they know it's not their thing. So yeah, I tend to like things like this more because this is what I like. So maybe B seems too high for you, but I don't understand people who are hate watching these things. There are entire channels who haven't liked a Marvel project in the last like 10 years, and they just keep hating on every single project just for the sheer purpose of pointing out the diversity in the cast. And that's just a waste of time, and it's dumb. So we'll be back with episode 4. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.